Inside this 500,000 square metre factory in Fremont, California, Tesla Motors are taking on the giants of the auto industry. And they're doing it with an electric car.
100 years ago, more cars ran on electricity than on gasoline. In fact, Henry Ford's wife refused to drive anything other than an electric car. You know, because of that whole fire and explosion issue that was common with combustion engines of the time.
But electric cars were also heavy and slow. They were dismissed as boring. Not anymore. Tesla's Model S may look like a conventional sports sedan, but that's where the resemblance ends. Everything has been done to make this car as light and powerful as possible. Most cars are built from steel, but these giant rolls of metal aren't steel. They're lightweight aluminium. More expensive than steel and tricky to work with, they've chosen aluminium because it cuts the car's body weight by almost 100 kilos, making it faster and more fun to drive. The coils are unraveled and fed into a super-sized guillotine, which chops them into individual panels called blanks. Now the flat blanks need to be pressed into shape, but aluminium doesn't stretch as easily as steel, making it harder to bend and mould. The answer? The largest hydraulic press in North America. This 7-story, 60-metre-long monster is made up of 5 stamping presses which slowly bend and shape the metal. The lead press applies 1,000 tons of force, creating the basic shape. The other presses add the details. Together, they produce a new body panel every 6 seconds. The components are then brought to the body centre, where the dance of the welding robots begins. No sparks flying on this dance floor. Aluminium has a low melting point, so conventional welding would damage the body panels. Instead, they use a special technique called cold metal transfer welding. It uses just 1/10 of the energy, but it's also 10 times faster. Once the body shells are welded together, this overhead conveyor system carries them to the paint shop. Here, they're given a good clean. Then the unpainted shell is brought to life. Robotic arms spray every inch with a primer, base coat, and a final, shiny, clear coat. The shells are carefully inspected to make sure they have a perfect finish. Tesla hopes this vehicle is going to compete with supercars. But to do that, it needs a lot of pulling power. And that comes from these electric motors. To build each one, they need copper wire. Almost 1 kilometre of it. The copper is coiled into 3 windings, then encased in epoxy, and placed inside a housing. This is the outer part of the motor, called the stator. Next, they place this cylinder, called the rotor, in the middle. When electricity passes through the copper coils on the outside, it creates a rotating magnetic field. This induces another magnetic field in the rotor. When the 2 fields interact, they cause the rotor to spin, which then turns the car's wheels. The principle was first discovered by Croatian-born inventor Nikola Tesla over 130 years ago. This company is named after him.
Nikola Tesla is the most awesome inventor ever. He developed modern power generation and distribution, X-ray, radio, remote control. The modern world is built on his work.
It's not just the motor's design that's unusual, it's also where they put it. Or rather, where they put them. Because this car has 2 motors, one mounted directly on the front axle and one on the rear. This means there's no need for the kind of mechanical transmission used by conventional cars, saving yet more weight. And together, those motors deliver a whopping 691 horsepower, almost twice the power of a Porsche 911 Carrera.
The term horsepower comes from exactly that, horse power. Back in the day, they needed a measurement for an engine that people could understand. So 1 horsepower became the weight of coal that a horse could lift out of a mine, multiplied by the speed it could lift it. So this car can do the same as almost 700 coal-dragging horses.
But this car won't have any power without electricity. And that comes from this, a massive battery.
Each of these lithium-ion battery packs is made up of about 7,000 cells, separated into 16 different modules to make that one single 1,200-pound pack.
Together, the 7,000 cells can store 85 kilowatt hours of electricity. Connect that to your smartphone and you could talk non-stop for 288,000 hours. The drawback is that this battery is heavy. It weighs half a ton. But by mounting it under the floor, they've lowered the car's centre of gravity, making it almost impossible to roll and creating a flat undercarriage, which makes it more streamlined.
These batteries are made of lithium. Now, lithium, along with hydrogen and helium, was made in the first 3 minutes of the universe's existence, which means you're driving around with a little bit of the Big Bang in your car.
As the body shell moves down the line, engineers install the dashboard, windscreen, wheels, seats and doors, all with the kind of efficiency an F1 pit crew would be proud of. Completed cars are driven off the end of the line, ready to hit the road. Unlike petrol engines, electric motors instantly convert electricity into turning force. This car's power-to-weight ratio is too much for your average commute. To access all the car's power, the driver has to go to the console and select a special mode labelled Insane. And what does Insane mode feel like? Car Magazine Drag Times put it to the test.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
There you go. Okay.
Holy that's awesome! No way! No way!